The morning sun glimmered over the city as Daniel and Emily double-checked their luggage, making sure everything was packed for their long-awaited Amazon expedition. Their three children, Lucas, Hannah, and Emma, buzzed with excitement, discussing the wildlife they hoped to see and the adventures that awaited. The family had planned this trip for months, studying maps, reading survival guides, and preparing for the thrill of exploring one of the most dangerous and fascinating jungles in the world. The small propeller plane awaited them at the private airstrip. Its wings gleamed in the sunlight, and the faint hum of the engine promised adventure. Daniel, the father, did a final inspection, while Emily ensured the children were safely buckled in, their eyes wide with anticipation. The pilot gave them a reassuring nod, and with a roar of the engine, the plane took off, climbing into the clouds, leaving the familiar cityscape behind. At first, the flight was smooth. The rainforest stretched beneath them like a vast green carpet, rivers winding like silver threads, and the dense canopy hiding secrets of the wild. The children pressed their faces against the windows, marveling at the sight, while Emily pointed out landmarks she had read about in guidebooks. Laughter filled the cabin, stories were shared, and the excitement of exploration overshadowed the underlying tension of flying over such remote terrain. Suddenly, a loud jolt shook the aircraft. Lucas screamed, and the seatbelts tightened against their bodies. The engine sputtered, coughing smoke into the cabin. The pilot's face went pale as he struggled with the controls, but it was too late. The propeller had struck a mechanical fault, causing rapid loss of altitude. Daniel held Emily's hand tightly, while Hannah and Emma clung to their parents, their laughter replaced by terror. The jungle below approached rapidly, its vast greenery and river systems becoming frighteningly detailed as the plane descended. Trees loomed like giants, and the uneven terrain offered no mercy. With a bone-rattling crash, the aircraft hit the forest floor, skidding through underbrush and snapping trees like twigs. Dust and leaves filled the cabin, and the deafening silence afterward was punctuated only by the sound of the children sobbing and the distant calls of startled wildlife. Daniel quickly assessed the situation. Miraculously, they were all alive, though bruised and shaken. Emily helped calm the children, wrapping them in her arms and whispering reassurances. The plane was a twisted wreck, but it provided temporary shelter against the growing evening darkness and the buzzing swarm of insects. Daniel checked that everyone was unharmed, noting scratches, minor cuts, and fatigue, but no major injuries. Night approached rapidly in the jungle. The temperature dropped, and the sounds of the nocturnal rainforest filled the air. The croaks of frogs, the shrill calls of insects, and the distant roar of predators. With limited supplies from their luggage, Daniel fashioned a makeshift fire using branches and matches, while Emily organized the children and distributed the first aid kit items. Lucas and Hannah helped collect dry leaves, and Emma, though frightened, assisted in arranging a safe perimeter around their temporary shelter. The first night in the jungle was tense. Every rustle and shadow seemed threatening, and the family huddled together for warmth and security. Daniel spoke softly, instructing the children on basic safety and keeping a lookout while Emily tended to minor injuries. Sleep came fitfully, punctuated by the eerie cries of unseen animals and the distant sound of water running through the forest. The following morning brought clarity and the realization of the immense challenge ahead. Food was limited, water uncertain, and the dense jungle presented both danger and opportunity. Daniel emphasized the need to remain calm, work together, and explore cautiously. They ventured near the river, gathering small amounts of fresh water and spotting signs of wildlife. Monkeys leaped from tree to tree, colorful birds darted overhead, and the family began to understand the duality of the jungle, breathtaking beauty intertwined with relentless danger. Their first survival challenge came in the form of a giant fallen tree blocking their path along the riverbank. Daniel and the children worked together to create a safe path over it. Olivia's quick thinking and Hannah's courage allowed the family to navigate the obstacles successfully. Along the way, they encountered insects, snakes, and muddy terrain, each teaching them respect for the untamed wilderness. As the sun climbed higher, the forest heat intensified. Sweat dripped from their brows, and fatigue began to set in. Emily encouraged the children, reminding them of the importance of teamwork, resilience, and hope. Meals were simple, small portions of dried fruits and snacks salvaged from their luggage, supplemented with edible plants they cautiously identified under Daniel's guidance. Each day brought new lessons: how to read the river's currents, find safe shelter, and detect signs of danger, whether from predators or environmental hazards. By the second night, the family had gained a rhythm. They built a sturdier shelter from branches and leaves, reinforced with parts of the plane's wreckage. A fire burned steadily, and they shared stories to keep spirits high. Daniel reflected on the importance of maintaining morale, teaching the children skills for survival, and ensuring that they stayed together no matter what dangers the jungle presented. Throughout the first chapter, the Amazon jungle revealed itself in all its unpredictable glory. The family faced immediate danger from the crash, learned to navigate the forest floor, encountered wildlife, and began understanding the delicate balance of survival. Bonds strengthened under pressure, courage was tested, and every step reinforced that their journey would require intelligence, teamwork, and resilience. Though battered and weary, they knew that the adventure, and their fight for survival, had only just begun. ST number 249, CH number 2, voiceover chapter. The morning sun filtered through the dense canopy of the Amazon rainforest, casting a mosaic of light and shadow across the forest floor. Daniel, Emily, and their children, Lucas, Hannah, and Emma, woke from a fitful night's sleep, each alert to the myriad sounds of the jungle around them. The crash had left them shaken, but a resolve to survive began to form, uniting the family in purpose and determination. Daniel assessed their surroundings, noting the proximity of the river, the dense thickets of vegetation, and the terrain that could offer both opportunities and dangers. Emily tended to small injuries and encouraged the children, emphasizing calm and focus. The first order of business was shelter. Using branches, leaves, and remnants from the crashed plane, Daniel and Emily worked to construct a more stable, elevated platform. Lucas and Hannah assisted, gathering materials while Emma helped arrange dry leaves and soft moss to create a comfortable sleeping area. Water was their next concern. The nearby river promised a fresh supply, but it was also home to hidden dangers: crocodiles, piranhas, and swift currents. Daniel taught the children how to collect water safely using leaves and improvised containers, while Emily filtered and boiled what they could, emphasizing the importance of hygiene in preventing illness. The children, though nervous, adapted quickly, learning practical survival skills under their parents' guidance. Food in the jungle was unpredictable. They foraged for edible plants, fruits, and nuts, with Daniel carefully explaining which ones were safe to eat. Early encounters with insects and small wildlife reminded them of the jungle's harsh realities. At one point, a troop of monkeys approached their camp, curious and mischievous, attempting to steal fruits. Hannah laughed nervously, while Daniel shooed them away, reinforcing the lesson that the jungle demanded constant vigilance. Predators were an ever-present threat. While exploring near the river, the family encountered jaguar tracks and heard the distant roar of large cats. Each encounter, whether direct or indirect, heightened their awareness and respect for the environment. Daniel taught the children to move quietly, stay alert, and recognize signs of danger. Emily emphasized the need to stay together, understanding that unity was crucial for survival. As they explored further, they discovered natural shelters, caves, and rock overhangs that could protect them from sudden tropical storms. During one particularly heavy downpour, the family huddled together, marveling at the intensity of the rain and the resilience required to endure it. The storm reinforced the importance of preparation and adaptability, lessons that would be crucial for the days ahead. The family also faced smaller but persistent challenges: navigating muddy terrain, dealing with insects that carry diseases, and avoiding poisonous plants. Lucas and Hannah began to understand the rhythm of the jungle, learning to identify safe paths, detect changes in weather, and recognize the behavior of wildlife. Emma, though youngest, displayed remarkable courage, imitating her older siblings and slowly gaining confidence in her abilities. Evenings were filled with reflection. Around the fire, they shared stories from home, discussed strategies for finding a path back to civilization, and encouraged one another. Emily emphasized the psychological aspect of survival, maintaining hope, staying positive, and fostering trust within the family. Daniel reinforced the importance of problem-solving, teaching the children to think critically and act decisively. By the third day, the family had established a sustainable routine, sourcing water from the river, collecting edible plants, reinforcing their shelter, and maintaining vigilance against predators. They learned to move silently through dense underbrush, read signs of nearby wildlife, and navigate using natural landmarks. Each success, no matter how small, boosted their confidence and strengthened their bonds. They also faced moral and emotional challenges. Decisions about risk-taking, sharing resources, and keeping the children motivated tested Daniel and Emily's leadership and parenting skills. At one point, Hannah expressed fear of returning to the crash site to retrieve supplies. Emily comforted her, explaining that courage was not the absence of fear, but the ability to act despite it. These lessons in resilience and teamwork became the foundation of their survival strategy. Throughout the chapter, the Amazon revealed itself in all its unpredictability. From the serene beauty of sunlight filtering through leaves to the sudden terror of predator encounters, the jungle demanded respect, intelligence, and courage. By the end of CH2, the family had adapted to the environment, established a semblance of safety, and developed the skills needed to continue surviving. The bonds between Daniel, Emily, and their children had grown stronger, forged under the pressure of adversity and the shared goal of navigating the perilous wilderness. As night fell once more, the family sat around their carefully maintained fire, reflecting on their progress. Lucas and Hannah whispered excitedly about the creatures they had seen, while Emma listened intently, wide-eyed. Daniel and Emily shared a glance, knowing that the jungle was far from conquered, but confident that together, they could face whatever came next. The chapter closed with a mixture of relief, anticipation, and a quiet determination to survive, setting the stage for the final leg of their harrowing adventure in this story. The third morning after the crash dawned with a golden hue filtering through the dense Amazon canopy. Daniel, Emily, Lucas, Hannah, and Emma awoke with renewed determination. The first 2 days had tested their physical endurance, mental fortitude, and family unity, but now they knew they had to push forward. Their goal: find a safe path out of the jungle and signal for rescue before the unforgiving environment overwhelmed them. Daniel led the way, machete in hand, carefully cutting through thick underbrush. The family had learned to move as one, quietly, efficiently, and cautiously. Emily kept the children close, reminding them to watch for signs of wildlife and maintain awareness of their surroundings. The previous day's lessons had taught them to read the subtle cues of the forest, the direction of birds' flight, the movement of leaves in the wind, and the distant calls of predators. Soon, the family encountered their first major obstacle of the day, a steep ravine with a fast-flowing river at its base. The only crossing was a fallen tree, slick with moss and rainwater. Lucas went first, testing the balance and stability. Hannah followed, clutching her father's hand, while Emma hesitated, her small frame trembling. Daniel and Emily guided her carefully, ensuring safety. Each step required concentration, courage, and trust in one another. Once across, they discovered remnants of an old forest trail, partially overgrown but still visible. It offered a glimmer of hope, suggesting that human passage was possible deeper into the jungle. The family followed it, mindful of every step. Along the way, they encountered signs of wildlife, jaguar paw prints, the distant roar of howler monkeys, and insects buzzing in swarms. Each encounter reminded them that the jungle was alive and that caution was paramount. Lunch was improvised, small fruits foraged from trees, and filtered water from a nearby stream. Emily emphasized the importance of rationing, and Daniel demonstrated how to purify water using makeshift methods learned from survival guides. The children, growing more confident, assisted in preparing their meager meal, developing practical skills that would serve them in the coming days. As the afternoon sun climbed higher, the family faced another challenge, a sudden tropical storm. Heavy rain and gusting wind threatened to sweep away their temporary trail markers. Daniel quickly fashioned a temporary shelter using branches and leaves, while Emily gathered the children under cover. The storm raged for hours, with thunder echoing through the jungle and lightning illuminating distant tree canopies. It was a harsh reminder of nature's unpredictability, yet the family's teamwork and preparation kept them safe. By evening, the storm passed, leaving behind a damp but manageable environment. The family resumed their journey, motivated by the belief that safety and rescue were within reach. They spotted a distant clearing, possibly a riverbank or a landing spot suitable for aerial rescue. With renewed hope, they navigated through dense foliage, their hearts racing with anticipation. Near the clearing, a jaguar suddenly emerged, its golden eyes fixed on the family. Daniel signaled everyone to stay calm, positioning themselves strategically near large trees and rocks. The predator prowled, testing the group's composure. Emily held the children close, whispering instructions. Using learned techniques, the family created loud noises and made themselves appear larger, forcing the jaguar to retreat into the shadows. The encounter reinforced their understanding of jungle survival and the importance of quick thinking. Finally, after hours of careful navigation, the family reached the clearing. Daniel fashioned a large SOS signal using branches, rocks, and bright clothing to make it visible from above. They maintained a small fire to attract attention and kept watch throughout the night. Exhaustion threatened to overcome them, but the promise of rescue kept them vigilant. Lucas, Hannah, and Emma took turns helping with the signal and collecting water, each child displaying remarkable courage and resilience. At dawn, the faint sound of helicopter rotors filled the air. The family's hearts soared with hope. Daniel waved frantically while Emily and the children shouted, signaling their exact location. The aircraft hovered closer, and within minutes, a rescue team landed, providing medical attention and ensuring their safety. Relief and joy washed over the family, tears mingling with laughter. After days of uncertainty, danger, and struggle, they were finally safe. As they were flown out of the jungle, the family looked down at the vast expanse of green below. They marveled at the beauty, complexity, and sheer power of the rainforest. Daniel reflected on the lessons learned: teamwork, resilience, courage, and the unbreakable bond of family. Emily held the children close, proud of their strength and determination. The journey had changed them irrevocably. Each member had faced fear, made difficult decisions, and learned the value of preparation, observation, and unity. The Amazon rainforest, with its dangers and wonders, had tested them in ways they could never have imagined. Yet it had also offered an unforgettable adventure, forging a deeper connection between them and instilling an enduring respect for nature. By the time the helicopter touched down on solid ground, the family had emerged stronger, wiser, and more united than ever. The jungle had challenged them, the crash had threatened their survival, but together, they had triumphed. This chapter of their lives would remain a vivid memory, a testament to human courage, resilience, and the power of love and family amidst adversity.